The agenda.
So move.
Second. Moved by Paula, seconded by Dan. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the previous committee of the whole minutes. Moved by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Becca.
That chicken.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Citizen input? No citizens. Finance and purchasing, review of financial and treasurer's report. Action, move to the common council, the approval of monthly invoices.
So moved.
Second. By Becca, second by Steve. Any discussions or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Protection of person and property, anybody? City buildings and grounds? Rec director? Personnel, nothing. Old business, nothing. New business. Discussion action, non-resident auto accident response schedule fees. Dropbox.
We mentioned it once before, we were looking at doing something down the road, and what we did is took policy that Chilton had, updated it, added our names to it, fees stayed the same. Couple of things that if there's a death on the accident, there'd be no charge. Anybody who lives in the fire district won't be charged either. So this would be people from outside the area, basically, try to recover some of our costs. We're at about 12 calls right now for roadway incidents this year. I think it would be to take the funding and use that to add to our 300 account for future equipment purchases.
If there's a death, you don't charge either party or like.
Understanding is that, I'll get a clarification from Chilton. I don't believe they've been charging anybody involved in risk of death.
Can it be pigeonholed to the 300 account, or does it have to be kind of the general funds?
Where the funds actually go, that was one discussion we didn't have of once an invoice where the funds would go to.
Keel puts theirs straight into their JAWS account, for lack of a better term, to use it for extrication equipment. For us, instead of creating another account, it just thought it'd be easiest to go to our 300 account for it.
I don't have a problem with it. I just want to make sure it's handled correctly.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Motion to move it to council.
So moved.
Moved by Norm, second by Rich. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I had one question. Is it based on the number of responding?
If you look at the road accident, typically if we went out for a car accident, we typically respond with 2 engines. So it'd be $250 per engine. So it'd be $500. And then we got, command. For if I was in charge of the call, it'd be another $100 for the officer in charge. Everybody else would be based at the rate of $25 per hour for a minimum of 1 hour.
Because on the form, it says something about the Ascension Is it all lumped in? Because it has the State Patrol, Ascension Ambulance, Keel Ambulance. It's all lumped in there with St. Anne Fire Department as well.
Well, because I'm just making sure I'm looking at the same formula, or this one you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the one that the fire department we would fill out on scene. Just to make it easier for documentation down the road. This won't be the actual bill that we sent out.
That's just for,
Like that we would use on the scene when we're out there
that's just for your record.
for our records.
Okay,
Because when I get back, I have to fill out a report for recall that we have to go on. And this would help me document that everything else would be on here.
okay.
The other one had the charges. Right, dollar.
Right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Employee health insurance opt-out.
Okay, so currently, if an employee opts not to take our health insurance plan, they would complete this form, which states that they would get 19% of the city's portion of the current health insurance premium, up to a maximum of $300 per month. That $300 per month has basically been on this sheet for years. And now, just with the insurance rates increasing, we do have an individual that has reached the $300 a month mark. So essentially what we would request is removing this $300 per month limit, because it's still a huge savings to the city to give them that 19%. And it's really just now with inflation, not hitting that $300 a month mark. So it would make sense to remove that $300 maximum at this point.
Trying to figure out why we put that limit on there. I'm sure there was a good reason.
At the time, was that some kind of threshold of the return on
think it
investment?
was.
Like the return on investment of giving the,
I think it
you
was.
didn't want to tip the scale and then have it end up costing, but.
Yeah, so I still think there needs to be some type of limit. I mean, the number could raise, but
Cause it's 19%. But how do you figure out the amount that the person gets?
It's 19% of the city's portion of the current health insurance premium. So for example, this year, the premium went up 12%.
The premium amount.
It varies depending upon the individual and whether it's family. So in this particular case, it's an individual that has a family policy.
His highest case scenario would be.
Exactly.
And then just recalculate that.
how much over $300 is it?
I believe this one would send it up to 320.
I feel like they had to get that number from somewhere, and I almost think that you'd have to see. I mean, because it can't really, if it's a percentage of the savings, it can't really. You really couldn't lose money, could you?
Absolutely not.
So what we could do is I can look to follow up and see where the 300 part came from. And then when it comes to council, if it's approved here, provide that explanation and then what the particular limit would be.
It's just a safety net. I'm sure.
I think that's what it was.
And I think it should definitely go up so that people still get the max, like the percentage that we.
Right. I don't have a problem with it going up, but I don't,
Right.
no limit is not a good idea.
But this here is not a resolution with any changes on it, is it? This is just the
No.
current one.
This is the current one. So basically bringing this up to go to council for change. So I can, when it comes to council, provide what that change would be based on this discussion.
I got it.
So I'll send the employee health opt-out form to council.
Second. Oops.
Rebecca, seconded by Norm. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 1587, amending the city of New Holstein's 2025 annual budget.
All right, for this one, having gone through our expenditures to date and also revenues to date, it looks like the city will bring in, we'll have about $100,000 surplus. Sorry, it's 77,000. So within that surplus, we'll need just over 22,000 to balance the budget for the 2026 budget. Then I would like to use that the part of the remaining surplus, one, to cover the $5,000 for the renovation of the Kiwanis baseball diamond that had been discussed previously, tasers, which the chief can cover, and then finally partial payment on an excavator that is planned to be purchased. That would still leave just about $20,000 left in surplus that would go into the general.
Right, anybody want to explain their extra purchases?
So our tasers are 12 to 13 years old. They don't make the cartridges anymore. They don't make batteries anymore. There is pretty much no life left to them. If phone breaks, we can't replace it. The goal is to have everybody have the exact same tasers for training purposes. So reaching out to Taser, they changed things up from the last time that we purchased tasers. It used to be an a la carte where you could just buy one here or two here or three here, and that was it. Now you have to buy the whole program. The 5-year program. And so originally when we got the quote, it was over 50,000 for over 5 years. I couldn't swallow that. So I spent several months working with them and we were able to get it down to 31,000. For the 5 years, that equates to around, I believe, 62 or 6,700
6240.
per year for 5 years. That covers everything. If anything goes wrong with it, all the cartridges. That covers our training. They send a master instructor here to train our department. That's only for $1. That was at 2,700. I was able to get that down to $1. We also will be able to get a VR system that's included that we own for scenario-based training. So when there's downtime on night shift, second shift, whatever, these guys can actually do scenario-based trainings in the PD. And there is I guess you could say like an arcade style type taser that is used for that. So it's real life scenario based type action that they'll be able to make real life decisions, whether they shoot or not shoot. It really is our only option, but again, it's 12 years since we've had to purchase tasers here. Like anything, everything goes up. We need to stay with the times. I guess I look at it from the standpoint, even though our deployments aren't many in a year, the amount of de-escalations that we get just by utilizing the taser by the red dot or show of force using it, we get more, I guess you could say, we get more people complying than having to actually use it. From a liability standpoint, you know me, I'm all about liability and transparency here. You know, all it takes is one incident where if we don't have this and we have to go hands-on with somebody, could be a workman's comp issue, could be an officer could get injured, anything's possible. And as you all know, with the way times are, law enforcement's not exactly loved anymore. So, you know, people are not exactly the most compliant, even in our town. So, that's what I'm requesting. So this year I want to take it out of my operating budget because I have the funds. And then the next 4 years will come out of my capital budget, which I have funds for, but it'll put us a year ahead. And then we should be good for a while. But that covers everything, maintenance, support, cartridges, the whole 9 yards. So everything is covered.
What was that with a spare on hand or?
No, that's
One for
fixed.
each one?
So I would use the same one that I'm using. I have an X26, which is still an older one. But we would have 6 for each of the officers. We would not have a spare. I had to bring that cost down
Yeah.
any way I could.
So if one,
If one breaks, they replace it.
okay.
During that 5 years, and 5 years, we have an option to re-up to whatever's the latest and greatest at that time. If we choose to, we will own everything. When it's paid off, we own it. So we can stay with what we have for the next 2, 3, 4 years after. You know, as long as they still make the batteries, the cartridges. So we can still go that route too, once the contract ends in 5 years after it's paid off.
And it's billed once a year.
Once a year. So my goal is to pay this in December. So it'll be December of each year. So this year it'll come out of my operating, which saves on my capital account because we have the surplus. If for whatever reason we have surplus next year and I can save out of my capital, even better. But that's really the goal is to take it out of capital. This is something we've been looking at the last couple of years. Said I was a little sticker shocked when I heard how much it costs, but it is what it is, I guess. What can you do? There really is no other options. They have the corner of the market. Taser does. We don't have any other options to go.
Well, thanks for working the price down.
I should be in sales.
Don't let them headhunt you, don't let them take you.
Okay, so this was a 2026 capital project. We are investment that we're buying in 26, but then we're also obviously being short. We talked about getting a down payment on it already, or possibly using the reserves. We have to look at the numbers. And we're looking at purchasing, if it's approved, that Cabelco, the SK35. It was actually, when Miller Bradford had two of them for us to try out for like 15 minutes, we went and tried them out, three of us. And actually, surprisingly, the guys like that one the best. I thought they would want a different one. And it actually came in the cheapest price too. So like I said, it was a 26 capital that we're gonna purchase anyway, but now we can get a jump start on it. And part of the reason is utilities, we never had an equipment to dig any ground with. So we always borrowed the utilities. Now we're starting to rent stuff, the hydrovac, everything they're starting to charge for. And they are down to one backhoe where they always had two. One is completely junk. And now they're down to one older one. Now this way we have our own stuff to dig with. I mean, it's getting to the point where they're charging us for everything. I mean, you've seen a bill, if anybody looked at the invoices, there was a bill for $382 to change two light bulbs. Because that was two of them two guys, a truck, and they have to change lights that we can't access. So it's like everything's getting expensive like that. And it's like we're just trying to keep it in-house. So this way we can do a lot more in-house.
Have any special operating?
I was a heavy equipment operator, obviously in the private sector before going to the city Fond du Lac for many years. Tyler's an operator and Ben runs it really well too. So all three of them guys, I feel really confident.
That's what some of the surplus,
Yes.
58,000.
The total was, that we're looking at for the surplus, 5,000 for the baseball field,
Mhm.
20,000 for the excavator, and 6240 for the tasers. And then for the actual balancing of the budget, about 22,000, and then the rest would go, about 20,000 would go into the general fund.
The Miller Bradford for 58,000.
So you have other funds.
Yes.
Covering the rest of it.
Well, we all have to talk with yes, we have enough in reserves, our 300 capital
For next year.
For next, so.
for this year,
We
actually.
have some, if this 20,000, we would have sufficient funds in the 300 to get this piece of equipment, but that would also nearly exhaust that account. Once we put in the funds from 2026 into that account, there'd be sufficient to cover this and also other items such as the lease.
Yeah, so going forward in 26, good call. The only thing we'll have in 26 then is the lease, which has always been since I've been here for the loader. And that's, I figure 20,000 every year because every year it seems to go up a little bit. This year it stayed the same. It was at a couple dollars under 18,000. So that would be the only thing that we'd have to worry about.
Couldn't do a lease program with this.
Well, we can, but at what point do we stop doing this? Because at some point we need to own a loader, right? So at some point we're gonna have to borrow for a loader. And I don't know how we're gonna afford 225,000 for a new loader. At some point we gotta buy one, right? So now we're just handing out 20,000 every year to rent something. It's like, are you gaining? You know what I mean? Like, at some point we're gonna have to buy stuff. I'm okay having a new machine every year, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, there's gonna be dump trucks that have to be done. You can't just keep leasing and have $100,000 lease every year for all this equipment together. Because if we went and got new trucks, new loader, I mean, you know what I mean? Like 20,000 on this, 3 new trucks. I mean, all our trucks are 95 or 2006, and then we have the 2020. So if we went and got all new dump trucks, I mean, the lease would be 100,000. Can't afford that. So this, I figured we could afford buying, as in my department.
Any other questions? Motion to move that to council.
Oh, move.
Again, seconded by Kathy. Hard to tell you two. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to convene into a closed session. Motion to be made to move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985 1E to deliberate under one or more information provided in the statute. This case specifically for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel and action to be taken on land and future development in the area of TID number 4.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Norm, second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.